survivor of the Australian forest fire offered assistance to Tzu Chi volunteers whose truck got stuck. The pediatric team of the Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center invited a magician to have fun with the children. Welcome to Dai Headlines, I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. The state of New South Wales in Australia recently suffered from a massive forest fire, causing the government to declare it in a state of an emergency. To lend support and assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers reached Taree to see how they can help. As the mountain roads are dangerous to travel on, the volunteers' vehicle actually got stuck on it when the tires lost traction. Thankfully, someone who was guarding their home after the fire was able to help them out of a jam. It goes to show that being kind really is an act that everyone, no matter the state that they are in, is capable of expressing.
The gray sky and brown trees are not the scene of winter, but the aftermath of a forest fire.
烧起来真的没有地方走。
挺 lonely， 就是靠近Taree，那个是一个最严重的一个灾情。
Tzu Chi volunteers hope to find some disaster victims to check up on their current status. However, during their trip, they get stuck in the road due to the loss of traction with the tires. 70-year-old Ray Hartog has been staying at home guarding whatever is left of their possessions after the fire and used his tractor to help the volunteers escape. He and his wife have lived here for 30 years, and they couldn't do anything to save their home nor 3 cars.
November 11 came through about midnight and burnt everything that you can see here.
While another disaster victim is Margaret. When the fire struck, she was not home, but in just 6 hours, everything was gone.
I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed. This is sad, but no one died. No one died, and I'm very grateful.
Drought, strong winds, and high temperatures has pushed the Greater Sydney into a state of emergency. But the rebuilding efforts will slowly begin as volunteers send their best wishes to these disaster victims.
In March of 2019, Cyclone Idai tore through Mozambique, and Tzu Chi's love and care extended to the survivors have never swayed. The latest Jingsi folding bed distribution was aimed at those without homes to live in after the natural disaster and are still living in the tent areas. Warming the hearts of the recipients, Tzu Chi volunteers expressed that they are visiting family, so the distance and journey is of no consequences.
Although we come from far away, we are here not to give help. We are here to see family.
Mozambique is the land where Tzu Chi's love and care has remained.
Just like when our kid is hungry, we want to quickly cook for our kid. Just like when our parent is ill, we want to quickly take care. So this is why we are here today, because everyone older than me is my parents. Everyone same as my age is my brothers and sisters. Everyone younger than me is my kid, my younger brothers.
Back in March of 2019, when Cyclone Idai struck, Tzu Chi helped provide construction and farming materials for some survivors and began planning for a Dai village. On this day, a 16-year-old living in the tent zones wrote a letter to Tzu Chi expressing his gratitude.
Está muito agradecido, muito obrigado e mais apoio a este centro. Desde a Mama Mata, desde às 21 de dezembro de 2019.
The young volunteers accompany a centenarian home to help him set up the Jingsi folding bed. During the giving of service, these youngsters are learning and growing.
Every year in California, Alhambra Fire Department works together with organizations to hold a pre-Christmas activity. Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters also participated in the event for the 11th year. They provided shoes and clothing at the event to lessen the family's financial burdens.
The characters from the movie Star Wars have appeared at Alhambra Fire Department. For the 11th year to celebrate Christmas, the party is always well planned.
Thank you.
Identifies, and this year it's 700 kids and their families that are underserved and need some help during the holidays. So they select the families, and the fire department, the YMCA, the police department, we put on the event.
Tzu Chi has been a great, tremendous help and support over all these years in giving back to the community.
The
most important goal for us to participate in this activity is to distribute cash cards for families who do not have money to buy holiday presents. We have also provided supplies that people donated to us. They include shoes, winter clothing, and some bags. We give it to the families to form good affinities with them.
At the outdoor daily necessities section, Southern California Gas Company has provided shoes. Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters has also prepared shoes and clothing for the people in need. As the children are growing, they need to change shoes every year. The service has lessened the parents' burdens. The firefighters provide breakfast on site, which is very popular. Indoor, the children are also delighted to see the toys and stuffed animals. This mother-son pair has been volunteering at the fire department for many years. They've come to serve the children.
Anytime we can give to kids, their faces just light up. It's been wonderful.
This event called Spark of Love has indeed brought love and warmth to the families in need as the holiday approaches.
The Christmas holiday is a very important holiday in Catholic countries. Tzu Chi volunteers in Argentina went to shantytown in Buenos Aires province to deliver food for Christmas. They also went to a food hall to give meals to homeless people. Let's take a look.
These bags of goods are being loaded onto the carts because Tzu Chi volunteers are preparing them for the Christmas. The shantytown residents in Buenos Aires province support themselves by scavenging. The goods arrive in time. The volunteers give out the goods to 33 families in Las Esperanza.
Thank you, Master Zheng Yan, for leading Tzu Chi volunteers to help the families and the children in our community. Thank you very much.
Another distribution is held in a soccer field. Before the volunteers set out, the truck broke down, so they were delayed for 2 hours, but people who are waiting under the sun do not complain about it. They help the volunteers set out the place, and the owner of the soccer field emphasizes that he welcomes Tzu Chi volunteers to borrow the place again.
This is everyone's field, so if you need it, you can use it.
Every family receives rice, cooking oil, noodles, and a sweetbread for Christmas. The volunteers also encourage them to drop coins to help people. In addition to these families, Tzu Chi volunteers also prepare spaghetti for homeless people. 120 people are able to enjoy the delicious Christmas meal.
They're poor, but we still respect them. Whether we are community volunteers or Tzu Chi volunteers, we serve them with love.
Tzu Chi volunteers also arrived at the Villa Luran, where they regularly visit. The volunteers help the children to dress up and give them presents, so they too can enjoy the holiday.
I'm very thankful because if I didn't receive these goods, I couldn't have a good holiday.
I had talked to them before. I asked if they could enjoy the holiday without today's goods, and they said they couldn't because they had no money for the celebration.
This is not just a Christmas present. It symbolizes Tzu Chi's continuous love and care to them.
In order to elevate the mental stress of hospitalized children, the pediatric team of the Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center invited a magician to have fun with the children on Christmas Day. Let's take a look.
Appearing to cheers, the clown made the children happy with funny interactions. Watching the magic show intently, the children seem to forget their illness. This is an event specially designed by the pediatric team of Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center for the children in hospital. Laughter filled the entire ward.
The magician can perform many wonderful tricks.
In addition to relieving the acute pain of children with the medical profession, we need to provide them a mentally soothing space. It would help a lot, no matter for the disease itself or for them to be cooperative with future medical care.
Those doctors and nurses who usually take care of these small patients take on leading roles in this story on stage. They convey the concept of health education to the parents and children through the storyline.
Our children are easily prone to colds when weather changes, so we learn more knowledge here. It will be easier for us to take care of the children when we go back.
The last part of the event, which is also the biggest surprise to the children, is to receive gifts from Santa Claus who suddenly appears. It is hoped that with lots of blessings, the children can be discharged from the hospital as soon as possible and lead a happy life thereafter.
As Dharma Master Cheng Yan continues her island-wide tour, she has come to Tainan. There, Tzu Chi volunteers share their experience in helping the needy in Jordan and recall their disaster relief experience in the aftermath of the Mei Ling tour bus accident. The Master expressed her gratitude for the volunteers for their selflessness.
The performance of the kindergarteners at Hainan Dai Kindergarten is lively but respectful. It symbolizes kindness and love of the Tzu Chi family.
看到因的机智动作啊，敢若看到都欢喜，这种清净无染的人生，偌尼可爱呀！
她有怀孕 ，baby， baby。
They do not have their own country or homes. They had to flee to other countries and rely on people's help.
Feeling for the refugees, the volunteers who participated in the disaster relief in Jordan had witnessed the pain of having to flee one's hometown.
每一个都是与师父同一条心，大家人伸出双手，为此主者付出。
Boom! It was very loud and he ran to take a look.
It has been 13 years since the Mei Ling tour bus accident took place. The major accident has shown that life is impermanent. One has to seize the moment to do good deeds.
一个人的力量无够用，大家人的力量合伙来，咱发亲啊，非常的重要。咱爱互相尊重，互相照顾。
When international disasters struck or accidents happen domestically, Tzu Chi volunteers were always there for the needy. They will continue to spread seeds of love to brighten the forgotten corners of the world.
The emergency rescue team of Tainan was set up to provide assistance when a natural disaster happens. These volunteers in the rescue team are more than 50 years old, but they all have received training. Whenever a disaster happens, they are always the first to arrive and stay until the end. Master Cheng Yan is grateful to their dedications and hopes that they will continue giving themselves in the community.
It was raining hard on August 23rd, so our coordination center was preparing hot meals, and the emergency rescue team sent them to every borough.
The Tainan Emergency Rescue Team has never shied away from major disasters, such as the 823 floods in 2018 or the 921 earthquake 20 years ago.
We were giving help after the 9/21 earthquake, and we did it for the whole year. Then came the August 8th floods, the earthquake in Hualien on February 6th, and the floods on August 23rd. We are always there to help if a major disaster happens.
Every time the volunteers bring boxed meals to a flooded area, they always face a different test.
One of the features of flooded areas is some higher grounds didn't have any water, so we had to carry the boat and these boxed meals with our hands across a bridge. They were so heavy that our legs became weak.
In some situations, we had to give the survivors the boxed meals, but they were living upstairs, so I asked them to look for ropes and baskets and lower them to us, so we could put the boxed meals in the baskets for them.
Every time the volunteers always receive help from the public to get their work done.
We want the master to rest assured because we members of the rescue team have received strict training. We follow the master's instruction that our safety is the top priority.
师父看到你打从内心的恭敬，这社会啦，迄个时南是一大群的慈济人。 从地涌出的蓝天白云呐，用行动啊来稳定人心。
Most of the members of the rescue team are over 50 years old, but they put the master's commitment in their hearts. They are the first to arrive at the scene of disasters and stay until everything is finished.
In Xiamen, Fujian, 46-year-old Zhang Xiaoyi has mentally shut himself off for more than 20 years. He used to drive away all visitors. Such volunteers visited his family and finally opened up his mind. Now, Zhang and his mother are willing to do recycling with the volunteers.
City volunteers visited Chen Danlu's home and old building for the first time. The volunteers were rejected twice because Chen Danlu was afraid that the visitors would be driven away by her son. The 46-year-old son of Chen has caused his parents much worry.
His mental state became unstable when he was 21. I kept taking sleeping pills, or else I cannot sleep. I worry for him.
During the 3 months, the volunteers met Zhang Xiaoyi twice, but he ignored them. Volunteers brought vegetables for them occasionally, and finally Chen Danlu no longer rejected them. In the afternoon, volunteers are doing recycling in the park. To their surprise, Chen Danlu has come.
You are sorting recyclables under the sun. Your spirit is commendable.
Volunteers accompany Chen home, and Zhang Xiaoyi has come to open the door. The volunteers introduced themselves to him. Seeing how the volunteers are interacting with Zhang Xiaoyi well, Chen is nicely surprised.
I am really happy. You create brightness merits. I say this from the bottom of my heart. In the past, I did not imagine that Xiaoyi would change so quickly.
Knowing that Zhang Xiaoyi likes to drink tea, the volunteers brought a tea set to go drink tea with him. To celebrate Chen Danlu's 71st birthday, the volunteers brought cake. Zhang Xiaoyi is busy making tea. He serves tea to his parents for the first time.
很开心。祝妈每年新年都很开心。对，爸爸妈妈奉茶，你心情怎么样？
心情好吧？
很好哦。为什么会很好？
应该的吧。
Love brings strength. It includes parents' love and the love of the volunteers.
祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐。
The volunteers' care for the past year has touched Zhang Xiaoyi's heart.
小姨为什么要来做环保？
保护地球吧，爱护大地。
做环保有没有很开心？
有。
70-year-old Li Shuping was imprisoned for business failure. His family left him and he spent many years in Guangxi wandering alone. Tzu Chi volunteers in Guangxi provided him with a shelter to stay. Later, the senior returned to his hometown in Kunming, Yunnan. Guangxi volunteers traveled far away to visit him. Let's see how Li Shuping is doing.
Missing 70-year-old Li Shuping, Tzu Chi volunteers in Guangxi traveled a long way to visit him. Volunteers eventually arrived in Kunming. The temperature there was 0 degrees with frost everywhere on plants. Li Shuping was already waiting at the intersection. This house was arranged for Li Shuping by Kunming volunteers. He likes this little home very much and made everything well organized.
哇，你那么多床垫啊！你看，1、2、3，这就是我看这个被子，我这个被子是你们职工给我的，这个是我自己写来的。这样安不安全啊？安全是啊，那个裤子啊，裤子这个裤子差。
The elderly was frugal, and the hat on his head was sewn from his pants.
他好厉害啊！真的，他真的好厉害。在那边的时候自己缝那个每一种百宝袋，好一点暖和的帽子，现在要100多块钱。
幸福家园有50多户。
More than 50 households in the Xingfu community were taken care of by us. We could provide lunch and dinner for many elderly, so they don't have to cook by themselves. We can also help the elderly do their laundry.
可以帮老人洗衣服整这些。
It is rare for Guangxi volunteers to come, so they want to spend more time with the senior and go to the market with him together. Li Shuping's face is filled with joy, and he introduced volunteers to whoever he meets.
他们来看望我老人，空挂老人。好嘞。原味芝麻跟洋葱你要哪一个？
你这个菜可以吃2天了吧？
At the end of the year, he has a dinner with Tzu Chi volunteers together, just like one family.
生活很幸福的，有慈济，心里面有慈济。
Feeling the warmth of family.
U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers in Orange County, California, prepared gifts and cards for the local students to celebrate the holidays. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.